granniopteryx, granniopteryx. She knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello, are you a Brit? Have you heard about the digital ID idea that Keir Starmer has been announcing for the past few days? Does that make you feel uncomfortable? Do you know why you feel uncomfortable? That's a little bit of a problem, because when you ask people, they become, well, semi-inarticulate. They know there's something wrong, but they can't put it into words. They just don't like that creepy feeling that somehow, somewhere, somebody in the government can just push a button and bring up their entire life, can indeed, if they were so inclined, change that entire life. Right, well, I'm going to be talking about why you feel uncomfortable about the digital ID. After I've told you that I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share it, please subscribe to my channel, and if you want to contribute financially, that's lovely. Don't hurt yourself to do so, but if you want to, the links are in the description, somewhere in the proximity of this video. All right, let's get on with talking about those nasty little creepy feelings we're getting from this robot here. I'm going to combine this video about the digital ID. I mean, there's not much to be said. It's a bad idea. And even Black Belt Barrister didn't actually come up with a video against it it can't be more than 5 minutes long. So it's just bad. There isn't much more to say about it. I'll do some specifics. But there is something else about Keir Starmer that I did want to mention. And that is, I am toying with the idea of calling him the anti-Trump, because he's doing everything that's the direct opposite of the way Trump is managing his affairs. Now, you might have heard, just a minute, I'm going to find the page. Okay, we're back to The Guardian again. It doesn't matter. All the papers are talking about it. It says here that Trump is going after Comey, the ex-FBI head, whom Trump blames for, well, the fix he was in 2020, I suppose. But that's not, oh, no, it isn't quick and easy, and I'm not signing in. Right. Trump is doing that now. He's been in power for over a year now, hasn't he? And he's been doing it really cleverly. He's going after Soros as well, as far as I know, and Antifa. And he's definitely starting to take revenge on all the people and organisations who were going for him in many cases in a very unconstitutional way. I'm not going to be talking about the rights and wrongs of his revenge. What I am going to mention is this. He started out his presidency by giving the American people an awful lot of, Christmas presents, stopping the migration, changing the tax laws, tariffs, bringing industry back to the USA. Whether that works or not, the perception of the average American is that Trump is working for the average American. It's the perception that's important. The average American believes that Trump is working for him and his family and for America. Now he's established himself as the American leader of huge popularity. He started taking revenge on all the people who stopped this from happening in 2020. And of course, he's carrying the American people with him because they perceive him as being on their side. So when he's going for Comey or Antifa, and there might be some legal problems with with these things, which in other circumstances people might have felt a little bit uneasy about. But this time they'll probably go with him because they see Trump as their champion. He's already established himself as their champion. Now he can do other things, and he's taking the country with him. What did Starmer do? Well, what Starmer did was he started out his premiership by punishing the British people. Now, admittedly, there was an awful situation which sparked this off, the Southport incident. However, he could have chosen another path of championing the people. But he didn't. He started off by getting revenge. This whole government has been in power for just a year, and they are revenging themselves on the British people. First of all, there were the crowds and objectors in the Southport thing, and then there's Rachel Reeves and the private schools, and now, Phillipson and the private schools, and Rachel Reeves and the taxis. They are starting getting revenge on for the social justice that they think they're working for. That's basically what's going on. Now, they may say, all right, once we've got our revenge sorted out, we're going to do good for this country. I mean, I don't think they will, but if that's what's in their head, it's not going to work because they are not going to be carrying the people with them. And one great example of that is this digital ID business. Because when you have The Guardian on the same side as Tommy Robinson, you know that whatever it is, Starmer has a problem. He is not taking any part of the country with him on this matter. And that's because he hasn't bothered to bring any of the country on side, except for a few dedicated Labour followers, and that's not going to be enough. And even that's not working out that well because a lot of voters who are Labour inclined, or would have been Labour inclined a couple of years ago, are now voting for what they perceive as speciality parties. The Muslim vote, for instance, that's drifting away. Not only drifting, it's tidal waving away from the Labour Party now. He doesn't have the country with him. There's this little bubble of Westminster elite there making speeches from podiums, or is that podia? I don't know, but they're making speeches from them, whatever, and they don't have the country with them. Tommy Robinson's calling for a general election, which I assume means he's not that keen on the digital ID, and so is The Guardian. They're not talking about elections, but they're talking about concerns over civil liberties. Now, let me just go through a few of the points I've thought of. I made some notes here. Right, well, of course, the first thing is people are talking about is that there's too much power in one little card. Too much power in the government because everything about you will be on that card. Now, I remember when I was talking about IDs years ago with my mother, who remembered the war and everyone had to have an ID then because they were worried about foreign spies. And she said, well, I carried an ID with me in the 40s and it didn't bother me. Yes, Mum, I said, but that ID gave your name, your address and a photograph of you. That's all. It didn't tell anybody what your doctor thought about you, what crimes you might have been accused of, and some you may have committed. It doesn't tell anything about your medical history. Oh, she said, no. Well, That's it. So if you find some older person who may not have, by now, may not remember carrying an ID during the war, but might remember people telling them about IDs during the war and seeing nothing wrong with it, just remind them that the digital ID will take your weight, your height, your blood group, your voting preferences, your social media, everything, your entire life. And, as I've said, somebody of ill will can change that sometimes. There is no guarantee that this... there is no 100% security on any of this sort of thing. So there is no guarantee that somebody, some foreign power, for instance, can't get in there and change a lot of IDs, or some government official who doesn't like you can get in there and change your ID and have you, with a criminal history as long as your arm on that ID. Okay, so there's that little problem, the problem of security. The point is, do you trust your government to keep everything secure? And if you've looked at any media at all, even if you're the sort of person who doesn't go online and just reads newspapers, you will have heard of situations where government ministers have left files on a train or whatever. That happens, that sort of thing happens all the time, and it's so much easier with a little, one of those little USB things. All sorts like that. Right, so I saw an article. Unfortunately, I didn't keep it because it was just a quick glance. I read rather quickly, and I glance at the newspaper, and I get, the first page of it. I get all the articles and sort of mentally store them away. But of course, a lot of information gets lost. And this one was, somebody said, well, what did he say? He said, I have an app on my phone that recognises my face. So all my financial history is accessible on face recognition, he said. And then to start my phone, I use a thumbprint, he said. So my thumbprints are on some sort of record. And he said, my driving licence has all my driving history. And I log into my NHS app with a password, and that's all my NHS history. So why should I be bothered about an ID card? I just couldn't believe anyone would be that stupid. Because it's on an ID card, you fool. Yeah, I'm trying to moderate my language here. You have to understand that for all my advanced years, I went to boarding school. My parents thought that they'd turn me into a lady. Because I was a little bit sort of unconventional as a teenager. I didn't quite fit my parents' view of what a young marriageable girl should be at my age. They sent me away to boarding school, and they thought that would turn me into a lady. It may have rubbed off some edges, but I'll tell you what it did do. It taught me to swear like a trooper. You haven't heard language until you've been in a British girls' boarding school. Oh, by the way, you probably won't be, because Bridget Phillipson is busy taxing them all out of existence. Right. Anyway, let's get back to this. So, the ID card will have it all. And that will include, for instance, accusations of non-crime hate incidents or Koran burnings or anything like that. That'll all be on the ID as well. It's no use him saying, oh, no, it won't be. Oh, yes, it will. Right. And it can be changed, of course. It can be messed around with. Right. Okay. I think that, If somebody of ill intent gets into your ID card and has you with a criminal history that involves drugs or psychosis or something, that's not going to help you, is it? Right. I think basically I've covered all the big issues there. There are many more issues, of course. There's the issue of what if you can't produce an ID? You know what the police are like now. It could be that you have to have an ID, so you have to walk around with it. He'll say, oh, no, you can leave it at home. No. And if a policeman stops you and you don't have your ID, I can imagine plenty of rough stuff with that as well. And then later on apologising, oh, sorry, we misunderstood, you don't have, but that won't stop the fact that you've been in jail for the past, in the holding cells for the past 8 hours. That sort of thing. It's just a terrible idea. And as I say, when The Guardian is on the same side as Tommy Robinson, you know it's got to be a terrible idea. All right, well, that's my thoughts on the ID. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.